What's up guys? In this video, we're going to be breaking down 2 effects from Protect's Keyshia music video. Now I did just drop a part 1 to the same music video, so if you guys are interested in that, I'll have that linked down in the description. For this one, we're going to be breaking down a kaleidoscope effect as well as a flash effect. Both look super fire. Let's get right into it. So the first thing you want to do is make sure to change the colors of your layers because we are going to be working with a lot of layers. So you just want to make sure that they're different colors and you don't get confused. Focus on this first layer for now. We're going to be creating that kaleidoscope effect for the background. So the first thing you want to do is mask out a part of your layer. Mask out so that we can actually see our subject. Right there should be good. And then let's increase the mask feather. So click M twice for this layer and increase it so that the edges aren't too sharp. I'm going to really increase that to 150. Then duplicate that layer. For the bottom layer, delete the roto brush effect or delete the mask effect. This bottom layer is going to be the one where we add that kaleidoscope effect. So let's add an effect called Kaleido. It's called CC Kaleido. And then drag that to the bottom layer, rename that to BG for background. And once you add that effect, we have this really, like trippy, unique effect. We're going to change the settings in order to get a different look. I really like D across. Change the rotation to 45 degrees. And then let's increase the size so that we can get a better look of the background. So that already looks really fire. Then we're going to grab both of these layers and pre-compose them. Rename this to 1. I want this clip to play in slow motion. So we're going to be adding a time warp. For the settings, I'll just leave it as it is. And when we play this, it's a lot slower. But to make it look even better, add an adjustment layer and then cut that adjustment layer so that's the same length as this first clip. We're going to be adding a CC force motion blur. You can also add RSMB if you have that, but I don't got it like that, so I'm just going to use the free version that's already in After Effects. And then we're going to be increasing the motion blur samples to 20. This effect is pretty render intensive, so if you have to change the resolution, you can always do that. Then I'm going to go forward 6 frames from the start. Create an adjustment layer, and we're going to be creating a 1-framer. So cut this adjustment layer so it's only 1 frame, and then add an exposure. I want this frame of the layer to be really bright, so increase the exposure to 2, and this is what we have for the effect so far. Next thing we're going to do is go forward 1 frame from that adjustment layer, and then bring the second clip back so that it overlaps with the first layer. Go forward 2 frames, duplicate that layer, cut this layer so that's only 1 frame, and we're going to be adding the same kaleidoscope effect that we did from before. For the settings, we're going to make this one look different. Going to change this one to flipper and then increase the rotation to 135 degrees. Let's also increase the size to increase that to 132.3, and then grab that layer, pre-compose it. Make sure to click this option right here. And for this one, I'm only going to be masking out this part of the layer. So turn on the proportional grid and then grab your rectangle tool and just make sure to mask out exactly that part. And it doesn't have to be like perfect, but just make sure it looks good. And then for this one, add the kaleidoscope effect again. This time I'm going to change the mirroring to flip-flop and then increase the rotation to get a different look. Increase that to 170. Increase the size to around like 132. And let's actually duplicate this layer. Bring that one forward 1 frame. And for this one, we're going to pre-compose it and mask out the bottom half of this layer. So turn on the proportional grid and then mask it out like that. Then go to the layer that we duplicated and change the settings for this kaleidoscope effect because we want this one to look different as well. I'll change this one to Can Mia's. Decrease the rotation in order to get a better look. I'll just decrease this to 63 degrees. And then let's pre-compose this layer. This time we're going to be masking out the left side as well as this bottom half right here. So just grab the pen tool and then make sure you mask it out according to the proportional grid. Mask it out like that. This is what we have for the effect so far. Let's grab the second clip, bring that back so that it overlaps with the first clip. Go forward 2 frames from this layer, drag that back right there, and then go forward 1 frame and cut this layer. For this first frame right here, I'm going to decrease the opacity so that we can see the bottom layer, decrease that to 50%, and then add adjustment layer right above this 1 frame layer. So just make sure that it's also 1 frame, and we're going to be adding an exposure. Really increase the exposure because I want this a lot brighter. Increase that to 2.5, and then let's go forward a few frames from this layer right here. I'll go forward around like 6 or 7 frames, bring the third clip back, do the same thing, go forward 1 frame, cut that layer, and then decrease the opacity for this one to 50%. Then duplicate the adjustment layer from before and just drag that above this layer right here. So this is what we have for the final effect. I think that looks super fire, especially that kaleidoscope effect at the beginning. It's one of my favorite effects that I've broken down on this channel. Moving on to the second effect, we're going to be creating the slow motion flash effect. So you're going to need 3 clips in total in order to create this. And for now, let's focus on the first clip. Let's begin by creating a solid layer. Click Ctrl Y, make sure that the color is white, because we're going to be creating a flash effect at the beginning. So make this one only 1 frame, and then grab this first clip. I want this clip to play in slow motion. So let's first pre-compose this layer, and I'll just name that to 1 for the first clip. And we're going to be adding a time warp. Right when we add this effect, our clip plays a lot slower, but I want it to be even slower, so I'll decrease the speed to 20%. And then we're going to be adding a motion blur on top. So let's create an adjustment layer. Make sure that it's the same length as this clip. Add the CC Force motion blur. Increase the motion blur samples to 20. That just adds that extra motion blur to our footage. Makes it look a lot better. Then we're going to be creating sort of like this blurry fade in effect. So let's actually create another adjustment layer. Just duplicate this one, and then delete the motion blur effect for this one. We're gonna be adding 3 effects. For the first one, let's add a levels, and I want this clip to start out really dark, increasing the input black to around 61.2. Increase the input white. I'll have that at around 522.7, and then let's just keyframe the histogram at the beginning. Then go forward 16 frames, reset the histogram, right click, and then just click reset. For the next effect, we're gonna be adding a hue saturation. Decrease the master saturation so that we can't really see the colors. Just decrease that to -75. And then keyframe that at the start, go forward 16 frames, reset that back to 0. For the final effect, we're going to be adding a Gaussian blur. Let's really increase the blurriness so that's out of focus at the start. I'm going to increase that to 25. Keyframe that at the start. And for this one, I'll just go forward 10 frames, keyframe that back to 0. Easy ease all the keyframes. And this is what we have for the effect so far. I think that looks really smooth. And then grab your second clip, drag that back so that it overlaps with the first clip. And we're only going to have this layer be 2 frames. For this one, let's decrease the opacity to 50%. And then we're going to be creating an adjustment layer. Cut this adjustment layer so that we have 2 1-framers. We're going to be adding a flash. So let's add the exposure effect. For this first adjustment layer, we're going to be increasing the exposure. I'll just increase that to 2.50. For the second adjustment layer, add the exposure effect. And for this one, it's not going to be as bright. Let's just increase that just by a little. I'll increase that to 1. Then let's go forward 1 frame and then bring the third clip back. We're only going to make this one also 2 frames. I'm only going to have 1 adjustment layer above this layer. So I'll grab the one with the exposure at 2.5, duplicate that layer, make sure to extend the layer so that's 2 frames. Then go forward 1 frame, and let's also add this flash effect for the end. So duplicate the white solid layer, bring that towards the end. This is what we have for the final effect. I think that looks super fire, guys. And that's all I have for now. Those are 2 effects from Protect's music video. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.